I'm Bilharzia. I'm a biologist at the Royal Museum for Central Africa in Belgium.
And I'm Kasim Ombatolo, a biologist from Bilharzia University of Science and Technology, Uganda.
Together we coordinate a trap project which is financed by the Belgian Development Corporation. We work on Bilharzia because it's a neglected disease that affects more than 200 million people worldwide, especially in Africa. The disease is caused by tiny parasites that live inside freshwater snails. So when people enter the water with infected snails, the worms will penetrate the skin, and in the humans the worms will start laying eggs. And when these eggs reach the water again through open defecation, they will hatch and they will infect the snails, and the cycle will start all over again.
So why ATRA project in Uganda? It stems from the fact that despite mass drug administration of praziquantel among the Ugandan population launched by the government since 2002, the prevalence of the disease remains high, averaging over 25%. And this gets even worse for some hotspot communities around the Lake Albert and Lake Victoria, reaching up to 90%. And so why is the prevalence so high? It is because these communities depend on the water of the lakes, and then they use it for almost everything, including open defecation with no proper hygiene or clean water facilities, and this fuels the spread of the disease in these communities.
My name is Professor Grace Kagoro. I am the head of biology department at Bilharzia University of Science and Technology in Bilharzia, Uganda. Our main focus is capacity building, and this is why we are having and training students. In this project, we have 3 PhD students and 2 master's students that we are training in parasitic diseases, and we are taking an interdisciplinary approach. Some of the students are doing the science, while others are doing the social science, so that we can bring community perspective in this research, which is the flagship of Bilharzia University, where we involve mostly communities.
My name is Julius Tonsime of Bilharzia University of Science and Technology. I'm a PhD researcher trying to study Bilharzia parasite and the snail DNA for the intermediate hosts. We noticed that the World Health Organization recommends integration of snail control to drug administration for treatment of Bilharzia. However, for that to be effective, we need to know where snails occur and when they are likely to reproduce, and whether these snails actually contain parasites. So to achieve that, I do monthly sampling and I also use molecular diagnostics techniques to identify snail and parasite DNA. Thank you.
My name is Noelia Valderrama Browns. I'm a geologist doing a PhD at KU Leuven and the African Museum. At the same site, we have 25 trained citizen scientists that collect the snails weekly. They are equipped with a protective gear, a snail scoop, and a smartphone to take pictures and then upload them in an online system. I will use this data to compute the statistical models to estimate hotspots of the snails in areas where we don't have data, and also to forecast these hotspots in scenarios of climate change. Based on these results, we can propose preventive measures to protect the communities from Bilharzia.
My name is Dr. Viola Nyakato. I'm a senior lecturer at Bilharzia University of Science and Technology in the Faculty of Interdisciplinary Studies. We have used the citizen science model, and here the citizen scientists are given skills on how to collect data, on how to mobilize communities.
And also in the process of working with the citizen scientists, as researchers, we learn more about the communities, and the citizen scientists also learn more about the research processes. So even if you impact one person in terms of improving their knowledge, in terms of improving their attitude, and also practices around the problem that you're dealing with, you're starting to change the community, because you change their children, you change their neighbors, and eventually you change a big group out of that.
My name is Maxon Kenneth Anyolitho. I'm a PhD student from Bahrain University of Science and Technology, and I'm a sociologist by profession. Health education and sensitization has been at the forefront of global efforts for prevention of schistosomiasis, including Uganda, but majorly using the top-down approaches. However, in this project, I adopt the bottom-up community-based participatory approach to behavior change intervention, integrating the citizen science model. So the citizen researchers, who are a group of community volunteers who are selected and trained by the project, participate in community awareness in a contextualized manner, so that different sub-counties have different ways in which they are sensitized. So sensitization takes the approach of community mobilization using radios and megaphones, but also they do house-to-house visits for creating awareness regarding the disease, and also they do dramas, songs, plays where they pass the schistosomiasis message, while the flyers and the posters.
Mazima mukama mukwate nagenda upstairs mugende kulungi okija kwa bagenyi alejesa baitu rangaya watubetera.
And most of all, they also conduct tournaments where young guys come and play for football as they pass the messages regarding schistosomiasis.
Ndani ya nyimbo ili mufundishwe na vitu vingine penye hamujui, na tutapata mafundisho mengine kutoka kwa wenzetu ambao wamekuja kutuonesha kitu gani yenye inafaa tukuwe tunafanya.
Bilharzia chini.
Hi, my name is Faith Mugabi. I am a master's student from Bahrain University of Science and Technology, and also a student on ATRA project in Uganda. My research topic was understanding the gender factor in the spread and control of schistosomiasis in Kagadi district. The gender factor was specifically looking at the different gender roles that predispose men and women in Kagadi district, and also the gender differences that are in homes where men and women have different roles, different activities, different responsibilities that actually predispose them or actually affect their health-seeking behaviors in regard to schistosomiasis in Kagadi district.
My name is Damir Bedezi, a master student on the ATRA project. Bilharzia affects humans, but at the same time it affects animals. Therefore, I focus on assessing the burden of liver fluke infection and Bilharzia in livestock and wild mammals, because livestock rearing is one of the economic activity in the study area, and as well focus on the socio-ecological risk factors for liver fluke infection and Bilharzia in livestock and wild mammals. Hence, with this information, we can come up with strategic control measures for liver fluke infection and Bilharzia in animals.
Hi, my name is Mercy Gloria Ashapet, and I'm a PhD student at the KU Leuven, but also at the Africa Museum in Tavira in Belgium. My research is on following two citizen science networks in Uganda, one that is collecting data on snail-borne diseases and the other that is collecting data on environmental or natural hazards. What I'm doing is to find out what is driving the local participants or the citizen researchers into participating, what is influencing them and causing them to participate and continue participating in the citizen science projects. But also, I'll be looking at policymakers, leaders at different levels, both elected leaders and technical leaders. What do they think about the approach? What do they think about data generated by citizen science? And with this, we'll come up with a framework on citizen science, best practices of citizen science in the Global South.
Because ATRAP is going to be our guiding tool in our budgeting process. Because we have been using a water stress areas to allocate water in those places. But this is going to be our guiding tool that in most cases in these areas like Chatelekera, Ndaiga, that we put there safe water so that we can prevent the Bilharzia.